Did you know that 45% of YouTube viewership now happens on televisions? And in 2025, YouTube makes up 13.4% of all TV viewed in the United States. Let that sink in for just a second. YouTube isn't just competing with Netflix and Hulu, it's winning a share of the living room. Combine that with the fact that 31% of podcast listeners use YouTube as their primary podcast platform, and suddenly every podcaster needs to ask one urgent question. Is my podcast actually enjoyable to watch on a TV? Because here's the truth. If your show looks cramped, cluttered, or chaotic on a 55-inch screen, you're silently losing viewers. Today, I'm going to show you how to evaluate whether your podcast is truly TV friendly, where your current setup might be falling short, and the exact changes you can make to keep your audience comfortable on the couch, fully engaged, and excited to watch every new episode. Welcome to Podcast Support, the show where we tackle the questions every podcaster needs answered to grow a successful show. Whether you're just starting out or scaling an existing audience, we break down the roadblocks, share practical strategies, and give you step-by-step answers so you can spend less time guessing and more time building the podcast you want.
Thank you for contacting Podcast Support.
Section 1. How to evaluate whether your podcast is actually good on TV. Before you make any changes to your show, you need to experience it the way millions of people already are, on a television. This step alone can completely shift the way you think about your podcast production quality. So here's the assignment. Sit down, grab a notepad, pull your latest episode up on your TV, and watch the entire thing start to finish. Don't glance, don't skim. Watch it like a normal viewer who's lounging on a couch, relaxed, and expecting comfort. And as you do, I want you to take notes on 5 core areas that determine whether your podcast is TV friendly or TV problematic. Number 1, audio. How does your show actually sound through TV speakers? TV speakers don't sound the same as your headphones or your laptop or your AirPods. Most TVs have less clarity in the mid-range, worse bass management, a boxy or hollow tone, and a limited ability to handle volume spikes. So as you watch your episode, pay attention to whether your voice is too tinny. Condenser mics in untreated rooms often sound harsh and piercing on TVs. Are your low-end frequencies overwhelming the mix? A voice that sounds rich on headphones can become muddy or boomy on a living room soundbar. Is your intro music suddenly way louder than your speaking voice? Does it make you jump when it comes on? Would your neighbors be concerned? If anything sounds sharp, harsh, distorted, or wildly inconsistent, your viewers are noticing it. And unlike when they're on their phone, they can't simply turn the volume down a little. TV audio is much less forgiving. Number 2, video quality. Does your camera hold up on a big screen? A camera that looks crisp on a 6-inch phone can look completely different on a 55-inch TV. On a bigger screen, tiny imperfections become glaringly obvious. Grain that you didn't realize was there, compression artifacts, low light noise, soft focus, over sharpening. These things are not readily apparent on a phone, but the second that you're watching on a big screen, they're all over the place. As you watch your episode, ask yourself the following. Does the image look more grainy than you expected? Does it suddenly feel lower resolution or blurry? Is the lighting exposing flaws that you never see on your phone? If your show doesn't look clean on a TV, your viewers will subconsciously perceive it as lower quality, even if they can't articulate why. Number 3, camera framing. Are your shots too close for a living room experience? This is one of the most overlooked problems in podcast video production. Close-ups are great on phones because the screen is tiny. You need to see someone's eyes and expressions, so you shoot up close and you get your face nice and big on the screen. But on a TV, ultra-close shots can feel confrontational, intense, uncomfortably intimate, and kind of distracting. Sit back on your couch and ask yourself, does this feel like the host is a normal distance away or like they're sitting 2 inches from my face? Would I be comfortable watching this framing for a full hour? A podcast that feels friendly on a phone can feel invasive on a TV. Your framing needs to match the screen size your viewers are using. Pull up some normal TV shows for reference. Notice the fact that for most shows, the host is not framed from the chest up most of the time. They're often shown in full body shots or from the waist up. People just don't like being that close to another person. Number 4, text and graphics. Can viewers read what's on screen without feeling attacked? Text behaves very differently on a large TV display. You might discover that your lower thirds are too small and unreadable. Your titles are too large and overpowering. Your fonts look blurry when scaled up, or your graphics pull too much attention. Ask yourself the following. Is everything legible from the couch? Is any text so big that it feels shouty or overwhelming? Do your graphics actually support the episode, or do they become visual noise? This is especially important for podcasts that use pop-ups, captions, or informational overlays. And number 5, your background. What is your set saying on a 55-inch screen? Your background might look perfect on your phone, but TVs reveal everything. Every stray cable, every dusty shelf, every slightly crooked picture frame. Look for the following. Clutter that becomes obvious only when enlarged. Distracting elements you never noticed before. Props or decor that feel too big or too small on a large screen, or overly busy patterns or textures. Your viewers shouldn't be scanning your background for odd details. They should be focused on you. A TV set is clean, intentional, balanced, and designed to scale up from the phone all the way to the big screen. Section 2, how to make your podcast truly TV friendly. All right, now that you've sat through a full episode on your television and identified where your show struggles, let's talk about fixing those issues so your podcast actually belongs on the big screen. And to make this easier, I put together a television podcast checklist that you can download using the link below. It's a free PDF you can refer to before every recording, so you never forget a step and your show stays consistently TV friendly. Let's break down the core areas where most podcasts need improvement and exactly how to upgrade them. So first of all, audio, your most important television upgrade. Audio problems are 10 times more noticeable on a TV. Why? Because TVs and soundbars have bigger speakers, wider frequency response, and are far less forgiving than your phone. They reveal everything, like background hum, air conditioner noise, room echo, harsh microphone tones, unbalanced volume, and music spikes. On a TV, bad audio doesn't just sound a little off. It's uncomfortable, and discomfort equals viewer drop-off. So here's how to fix it. Use a real microphone. No laptop mics, no webcam mics, no this is good enough mics. A $99 USB mic will outperform all of those and instantly make your show sound intentional. Balance your levels. Your voice, your guest voice, your intro music, sound effects, everything should live at the same perceived volume. Nothing should jump out and attack your viewers from the speakers, sending them scrambling for the remote to turn it down. That's not a good viewing experience. Reduce echo and background noise. We want to do anything we can to treat our room and get rid of any echoes that's bouncing back into our microphone and making our audio sound unpleasant. So that's adding soft surfaces, rugs, curtains, blankets, acoustic panels to your room that will absorb those unwanted frequencies and keep them from bouncing back at you. This will make such a big difference and make your TV viewing experience so much better. A TV will expose problems your phone hides. A polished TV audio mix is one of the fastest ways to make your show feel professional. Number 2, upgrade your webcam, or at least your lighting. What's fine for Zoom is not fine for television. TVs magnify everything. A grainy webcam on a 6-inch phone becomes a distracting mess on a 65-inch TV. You don't need a cinema camera, but you do need a decent external webcam. At least 1080p, ideally 4K. Even if you export your final podcast in 1080p, a 4K webcam will look cleaner. Give your webcam more light than feels necessary. Webcams look their absolute best when they're actually just slightly overexposed. Here's why. When a webcam doesn't get enough light, it automatically boosts its sensitivity, which introduces grain, noise, and compression, and makes the whole webcam feel soft and blurry and kind of ugly. What seems fine to your eye on a phone becomes really ugly when blown up on a TV. If you want your TV viewers to stick around, your face needs to look sharp, bright, and clear, not muddy or noisy. Number 3, camera framing. Respect the living room experience. Framing that works beautifully on a phone can feel intense, even uncomfortable on a television. If your shot is too tight, it can feel like you're sitting inches from your viewer's face. And if your angle is too low, your viewer gets an unflattering shot straight up your nose, which actually happens a lot because so many people record podcasts on their laptop and they just place their laptop on the desk in front of them, and then their laptop webcam is staring straight up their nose. Not a good look for anybody. So even if you're gonna use your webcam on your laptop, which I do not recommend, raise your laptop up by putting some books underneath it and get a much more flattering angle of your face. So here's how to fix your camera angle. Move the camera back further away from yourself so you're not framed as closely. Give yourself some breathing room. On a TV, medium shots feel far more natural than a close-up. We want to also raise the camera up. Put it at your eye level or slightly above. This is why Instagram models are always taking shots of themselves with their phones slightly above eye level. It's a much more flattering angle. If you're using a laptop camera, which I don't recommend, stack it on books or a stand. Avoid looming angles, which is when you take that angle looking down at your face and you go a little bit too high and now you got too much forehead in the shot. Eye level framing builds trust and comfort, 2 essentials for long-form TV viewing. Framing alone can change the entire perception of your show. Number 4, text and graphics. Designed for distance, not phones. Most podcasters design their graphics on a laptop and never stop to think about how that same graphic appears from 10 feet away on a couch. When you're watching from a couch, suddenly thin fonts are unreadable, tiny lower thirds disappear, and busy graphics look messy. Light-colored text fades out. Overly big text becomes overwhelming. And here's the rule. If you can't read it instantly from your couch, it's too small. If it dominates the screen, it's too big. Use bold fonts, keep contrast high, and design for clarity, not decoration. Your graphics should support the message, not scream over it or vanish entirely. And number 5, backgrounds. Keep it clean, simple, and intentional. A background that looks perfectly fine on your phone can look chaotic on a TV. Large screens expose cluttered shelves, random objects, tangled cables, distracting patterns, dust, empty space that feels awkward. Your background doesn't need to be fancy, it just needs to be intentional. So here's how to get it right. Remove all the clutter. Anything not adding value is pulling attention away from you. Use big, simple shapes and decor. TVs love clean lines and minimalism. Keep the background consistent episode to episode. It gives your show a recognizable identity. A good background isn't about aesthetics. It's about keeping viewers comfortable. Once you implement these upgrades, your podcast will feel designed for the living room, because it will be. You're not just creating a video podcast anymore, you're creating a TV experience. And as YouTube becomes a dominant force on living room screens, the podcasters who take this seriously will win big. So that's your blueprint for making your podcast truly TV friendly. If you take the time to evaluate your show from the couch, make a few intentional upgrades, and follow the television podcast checklist, link down below, you'll stand out in a crowded landscape where most creators never think about how their show plays on a big screen. The podcasters who adapt to this shift early will be the ones who build deeper loyalty, longer watch times, and a show that feels really right at home in the living room. Thanks for listening, and I'll see you in the next episode of Podcast Support.
Thank you for contacting Podcast Support.